Grim Rhythm of Nightblooms. Prologue, a meeting. The citadel of the Khaos Domain rose like a black monolith against the star-drowned void, its surface rippling with gravitational distortions that bent light into spirals. Queen Meredith of the Nightbloom Empire watched it grow larger through the viewing slit of her stealth vessel, her violet fingers resting lightly on the obsidian rail. Even after 10,000 years of rule, even after carving an empire out of the magenta nebula with her bare will, she still felt a quiet shiver when approaching Lord Khaos Domain. Not fear. Recognition. The vessel slipped through the domain's perimeter undetected, its spectral engines whispering through folded space. Meredith stood tall, her silhouette a drifting shadow of magenta and black. Her dark elven form was elegant and predatory. Long limbs, tapered ears, hair like pale nebula light, and skin the deep violet of dying stars. Her eyes, twin lanterns of spectral magenta, glowed with the power of a witch who had devoured banshee queens and broken vampire lords. She was immortal, terrible, and beautiful. And yet, as the citadel's docking arms extended, she felt something she had not felt in centuries. Nervousness. The air shifted when the doors opened. Lord Khaos stepped into view, tall and broad-shouldered, his presence bending the gravity around him. His skin was pale as starlight, his hair a mane of white fire, and his eyes, those impossible, particle-forged eyes, shimmered with the cold brilliance of collapsing suns. He was not elven, not humanoid in the traditional sense. His race, the Khaosborn, were sculpted from the particle forces themselves, their bodies shaped by quantum storms and cosmic pressure. Where Meredith's aura whispered like a ghost, Werner's presence hummed like a reactor core. Two beings who should never have touched. Two beings who once almost did. Meredith, Werner said, his voice deep enough to vibrate the air. Werner, she answered softly, stepping down the ramp. For a moment, they simply looked at each other, two ancient rulers who had once stood side by side against the old silent, two beings who had nearly shared a life before duty tore them apart. The air between them shimmered with unspoken history. You came alone, Werner observed. I needed to speak with you without the eyes of my court, she replied. Or yours. He nodded and gestured for her to follow. They walked through the citadel's crystalline halls, where gravity shifted in gentle waves and particle streams flowed like rivers of light. Meredith's spectral form left faint trails of magenta mist behind her. Werner's presence caused the walls to hum in resonance. They were opposites, ghost and starfire, shadow and particle force, and yet their energies harmonized in a way that no one else's ever had. They entered his private chamber, a vast room of floating platforms and suspended star maps. Meredith exhaled slowly. It has been a long time, she said. Too long, Werner replied. Silence settled between them, comfortable, familiar, tinged with regret. Finally, Meredith spoke. The old silent have been gone for ages. Their fall should have brought peace. And yet, Werner finished for her. Two remain dormant, and the zero stirs without their guidance. She nodded. My empire is strained. The central breach grows more unstable. Pirates, rebels, banshee remnants, and my daughters. Her voice softened, rare vulnerabilities slipping through. They are powerful beyond measure, but their souls are binary. Two halves of one whole. No suitor can bond with them. No noble vampire, no incubus, no banshee. They frighten all who approach. Werner's expression shifted, understanding, sympathy, something deeper. They are like you, he said. Too much for the world to hold. And your son, she asked gently. Werner's jaw tightened. Amaric was born with my power, but on the emotional spectrum. When his mother died, he burned the darkness that took her and burned himself. His emotional spectrum collapsed into fear. Now he exudes it. Lives in isolation because of it. Meredith's eyes softened. Werner, I am sorry. He looked away. He is powerful, brilliant, but alone. Fear has become his prison. Meredith stepped closer, her aura brushing his. Our children share the same curse. Fear as isolation, Werner murmured. Fear as destiny, she corrected. A ripple of light tore open in the chamber, and Aurelian Swift Star stepped through, radiant, comet-haired, smiling as though he had not just intruded on two of the most powerful beings in the Shadowverse. "My lords," he said with a graceful bow. "I bring news from the Central Breach." Werner raised a brow. "You always bring news." And Destiny, Aurelian added cheerfully. "The breach grows worse. Lorecast is strained. The rebels multiply. And the Zero has begun ravaging the domain's outer colonies." Meredith's expression darkened. "The Zero again." Aurelian nodded. "If the breach collapses, your empires will fall with it." But his eyes sparkled. "There is a path. A convergence. Your children." Werner frowned. "Explain." "The twins visit Lorecast often. Amalric hunts the Zero. Their paths already circle each other. With a touch of guidance, they may stabilize the breach and each other." Meredith's breath caught. "You speak of bonding." Aurelian smiled. "I speak of resonance. Three beings shaped by fear. Three souls capable of harmonizing what the silent broke." Werner looked at Meredith. She looked back. Old love flickered between them, soft, aching, unresolved. "We could not be together," Meredith whispered. "Our races were too different. Our duties too great." Werner stepped closer, his voice low. "But our children, they may succeed where we could not." For the first time in centuries, Meredith allowed herself a small, wistful smile. "Perhaps." Aurelian bowed again, his comet dust hair drifting. "Then I shall guide them. The breach awaits." Werner and Meredith stood side by side, ancient rulers bound by history, regret, and a love that had never fully died. Introduction. Terror Twins. The central hall of Dark World Lorecast was a cathedral of iron and obsidian, built into the bones of an ancient asteroid and lit by the pulsing veins of magma that ran beneath its surface. The air shimmered with heat and the metallic tang of industry, but beneath it all lay something colder: anticipation, dread, the uneasy hush of a frontier world trying to pretend it was civilized for one ceremonial afternoon. Every official, noble, merchant, and dignitary present knew the truth. Lorecast was a powder keg. A mining world claimed by the Nightbloom Empire, but surrounded by lawless sectors, pirate enclaves, and rebel dens. The ceremony announcing the launch of new mining colonies was meant to symbolize stability. Instead, it symbolized fear. Because the Terror Twins were attending. The Nightbloom royal booth loomed above the hall like a balcony carved from shadow. When the twins stepped into view, the entire chamber shifted, breaths held, spines straightened, conversations died mid-sentence. Princess Melia Nightbloom stood on the left, tall and statuesque, her dark purple skin gleaming like polished amethyst. Her hair was shaved on one side and swept long on the other, braided with silver rings and shards of obsidian. Her armor was angular, plated, and brutal, black metal etched with runes that pulsed faintly with psionic energy. A sword hung at her hip, its blade carved from a single piece of void glass she had shaped herself. Cordelia stood on the right, equally tall but sharper in posture, her lighter purple hair tied into a high, intricate tail that swayed like a comet's trail. Her armor was sleeker, more modern, dark plates interwoven with energy conduits that hummed softly. Twin pistols rested at her thighs, each one a masterpiece of calibration and design. They were opposites in every way except one. The aura that surrounded them. It wasn't fear. Not exactly. It was the anticipation of fear. A pressure in the air, a tightening in the chest, a whisper in the back of the mind that said, "Do not be afraid. If you are afraid, they will taste it. If they taste it, they will feed." The twins masked their power well, decades of training, discipline, and psionic control. But even masked, their presence was a storm waiting to break. Officials bowed stiffly. Nobles forced smiles. Guards stood rigid, hands trembling on their weapons. Cordelia leaned forward on the balcony rail, her eyes scanning the crowd with bright, predatory curiosity. "Look at them," she murmured, her voice melodic and edged. Trying so hard not to tremble. Melia didn't answer. She was staring at the ceiling, bored, tapping her fingers against her sword hilt in a slow, rhythmic pattern. Her gaze drifted lazily across the hall, as though she were searching for something interesting to kill time. Or someone foolish enough to provoke her. Cordelia smirked. "Sister, you're not even pretending to pay attention." "I am pretending," Melia replied flatly. "Just not very well." Their voices overlapped, then split, then overlapped again, an eerie cadence that made the nearest nobles flinch. When they spoke in unison, it was like hearing one voice from two mouths, a binary resonance that vibrated through the bones. The ceremony began. Speeches were made. Holograms of new mining colonies flickered to life. The governor of Lorecast droned on about prosperity and unity. Cordelia yawned. Melia rolled her eyes. Then the doors exploded. A shockwave tore through the hall as banshee rebels and werewolf raiders stormed in, weapons raised, howling and shrieking. Panic erupted. Officials scattered. Guards rushed forward. The twins did not move. Cordelia tilted her head. Predictable. Melia sighed. Boring. The rebels surged toward the stage. Until the twins descended. They didn't leap. They didn't teleport. They simply stepped off the balcony, drifting downward like falling shadows. Their boots touched the ground with a soft thud. And the hall went silent. The fear aura unmasked itself. It rolled out from the twins like a tidal wave, cold, suffocating, electric. Not a scream of terror, but the promise of it. A pressure that squeezed the lungs, tightened the throat, and whispered directly into the primal centers of the brain. The rebels froze mid-charge. A werewolf dropped his weapon, claws shaking. A banshee scream died in her throat. Sweat poured down faces. Knees buckled. Hearts pounded so loudly the twins could hear them. Cordelia stepped forward, her pistols still holstered. Surrender. Melia's eyes glowed faintly. Now. The rebels collapsed. Weapons clattered to the floor. Bodies trembled. The leader, a scarred banshee with a cracked mask, fell to his knees, gasping. Cordelia approached him, her smile sharp. "You came here to make a statement." Melia crouched beside him, her voice a whisper of velvet and knives. "Consider it made." They lifted him effortlessly and dragged him toward their private chamber. The hall watched in horrified silence as the doors closed behind them. Moments later, a scream tore through the chamber walls. It wasn't a scream of pain. It was a scream of fear, pure, distilled, soul-deep terror. When the doors opened again, the rebel leader stumbled out, pale as ash, eyes unfocused, mumbling nonsense. He walked past the guards without resistance, without anger, without memory of rebellion. He would eat, sleep, and work now. Nothing more. The ceremony resumed in a trembling hush. The twins reappeared on the balcony, calm, composed, as though nothing had happened. Cordelia leaned on the rail again, humming. Melia resumed tapping her fingers. The governor cleared his throat shakily and continued his speech. When the ceremony ended, the twins turned to leave. Cordelia stretched. That was mildly entertaining. Melia shrugged. "I'm hungry." They walked toward their ship, their auras folding back into silence, leaving behind a hall full of people who would never forget the day the Terror Twins smiled. Chapter 1. First Encounter on the Outer Moon Kilios. The umbral thorn tore through the fractured dark of the central breach, its hull trailing sparks like dying stars. The ship had been elegant once, sleek, obsidian-lined, trimmed in violet sigils, but now it limped through space, bleeding energy and smoke. The Daggertooth sisters were relentless in their pursuit, their needle-thin raider craft darting through the debris fields like predatory insects. Every few seconds, another barrage struck the Thorn's flank, rattling the bones of everyone aboard. Cordelia stood at the helm, her fingers flying across the controls, hair whipping behind her like a comet's tail. "Stabilizers are gone," she snapped. "If they hit us again, we're going to be a smear on the breach." Melia leaned against the wall, arms crossed, eyes glowing faintly with psionic irritation. "Let them try. I'm bored." "You're bored because you're not flying," Cordelia shot back. "Some of us are trying to keep us alive." Grumwald Vexeron's voice crackled over the comms, thick with dwarven exasperation. "Princesses, We've lost half the aft plating. If you'd kindly stop provoking ancient vampire vendettas, that'd be grand. Serica Thornvale added, her voice dry as dust. We're venting atmosphere in 2 compartments. Please refrain from dying until we land. Captain Valor Dravane stood rigid at the helm beside Cordelia, silver eyes narrowed. We cannot win this fight. Plotting emergency warp. The console flickered, then died. Cordelia slammed her fist against it. They hit the warp core. Melia sighed. Of course they did. The ship lurched violently as another blast struck. The Daggertooth sisters were laughing over the comms, high, shrill, hungry. They had hunted the twins for centuries, and today they smelled blood. Cordelia gritted her teeth. We need a miracle. And then, impossibly, one arrived. A streak of golden white light cut across the viewport, brighter than any star in the breach. A figure flew toward them, no ship, no armor, just a man wrapped in comet dust and radiance. He tapped the glass with one glowing finger. Cordelia blinked. He's knocking. A moment later, Aurelian's swift star phased through the hull, landing lightly on the bridge floor as though gravity itself bowed to him. Hello, ladies, he said cheerfully. You seem to be on fire. We noticed, Melia replied flatly. Aurelian smiled, utterly unfazed by the alarms, the smoke, or the imminent threat of death. Fortunately, you're close to Kilios. Prince Amalric can help. Cordelia stiffened. The son of Lord Khaos? The very one. Aurelian winked. Be respectful. He's sensitive. Melia raised a brow. Sensitive. In his way, Aurelian said. Now, hold on. He placed both hands on the console. Light surged from his palms, flooding the ship. The umbral thorn lurched forward as if hurled by a god, velocity spiking beyond what its engines could produce. Aurelian stepped back, dusting off his hands. There. You'll reach Kilios in minutes. Cordelia stared. You just pushed us? With your hands. Melia muttered, I hate him. Aurelian bowed. You're welcome. And then he vanished in a burst of starlight. Kilios was a dead moon. Ashen plains, jagged obsidian ridges, and a sky filled with swirling auroras of the Khaos Domain. The umbral thorn landed hard, skidding across the black stone until it came to a smoking stop on the landing platform. The ramp hissed open. A small, spherical droid hovered forward, blinking with blue lights. Greetings, Borat said in a monotone. Prince Amalric is currently dreaming through dimensions. Please do not disturb him. Cordelia blinked. Dreaming through what? Melia leaned down. Is he asleep or not? Yes, Borat replied. And also no. Serica whispered, I hate this moon. Grumwald stomped down the ramp, coughing through the smoke. When he saw the droid, he froze. By the forges, that's Borat. That means... A deep rumble echoed across the platform. Jaguaro emerged from the shadows, 6 legs, saber-toothed fangs, Jaguar spotted for rippling over bear-like muscle. His eyes glowed with alien intelligence as he sniffed the air. Cordelia froze. Oh, he's big. Melia stepped forward, unafraid. Jaguaro sniffed her once, twice, then pressed his massive head against her chest, purring like a thunderstorm. Cordelia's jaw dropped. He likes you. Jaguaro turned to her, sniffed once, and made a low, disapproving grunt. Cordelia recoiled. He does not like me. Melia smirked. Good taste. The air changed. A pressure rolled across the platform, subtle, cold, ancient. The twins stiffened as a ripple of fear brushed their minds, not overwhelming, but unmistakable. Borat rotated. He is awake. The doors of the Obsidian Palace opened. Prince Amalric Khaos stepped out. He was tall, taller than any elf, broader than any human, his armor a seamless shell of blackened metal etched with particle force sigils. He did not walk so much as glide, gravity bending around him. Cordelia swallowed. He's beautiful. Melia whispered, he's terrifying. Both were correct. Amalric stopped before them. Your ship is damaged. Grumwald stepped forward, bowing deeply. Your Highness, Prince Amalric, I am honored. I have heard the stories. the son of Lord Khaos, the adjudicator of the domain. Amalric raised a hand. Time froze. Not literally, but the air thickened, sound dulled, and every particle seemed to pause in reverence. "I will repair it," he said simply. He approached the ship, placing one hand on its scorched hull. His eyes dimmed. The air shimmered. The ship began to heal. Panels unbuckled. Metal unwarped. Circuits realigned. Scorch marks faded. The hull smoothed. The engine straightened. It was not engineering. It was not magic. It was time, reversing itself around the vessel. Cordelia gasped. "He's rewinding it." Melia stared, breathless. "He's not fixing the ship. He's fixing the moment before it broke." Grumwald nearly fainted. "By the forges, that's impossible." Amalric stepped back. "It is done." Borat added, "Ship logs are now temporarily inconsistent. Please avoid hyperspace jumps until recalibration." Serica muttered, "We're all going to die." Cordelia elbowed her. "Shut up." Amalric turned away, already floating back toward the palace. Melia took a step forward. "Wait." He paused. The twins felt it again, the faint bleed of his fear aura, leaking through the armor like cold starlight. It brushed their minds, their nerves, their bones. It was intoxicating. When they did not speak, he nodded back to them and began floating away. Cordelia's breath hitched. "Sister," Melia whispered, "I know." They watched him disappear into the palace. Then, without speaking, they turned to each other, eyes wide, hearts racing, psionic senses trembling. Cordelia exhaled shakily. "We need to call Mother." Melia nodded. Now, they activated the comms. When Queen Meredith's face appeared, they spoke in perfect unison, voices trembling with awe and hunger. "We may have found a mate." Chapter 2, Nightbloom Balls. The palace spires of glyph shimmered like obsidian needles against the swirling magenta nebula, each tower crowned with spectral lanterns that pulsed in rhythm with the Empire's psionic heartbeat. The Nightbloom capital was alive tonight, streets lit, banners unfurled, nobles whispering in anticipation. A grand ball had been declared, and when Queen Meredith declared a ball, the entire nebula listened. But inside the private solar chamber of the palace, the atmosphere was far from regal calm. Melia and Cordelia Nightbloom stood before their mother like two storm fronts barely contained. Their armor was still dusty from Kilios, their hair wind-tossed, their eyes bright with something neither of them had ever felt before. Excitement. Hunger. Hope. Queen Meredith watched them with a mixture of amusement and maternal dread. "So," she said, folding her hands, "you met the prince." The twins spoke in unison, voices trembling with awe. "Mother, he is magnificent." Cordelia stepped forward first, words tumbling out. "He fixed our ship with time. Not tools. Not magic. Time." Melia added, "And his aura, Mother. It's like nothing we've ever felt. It's perfect." Meredith raised a brow. "Perfect." Cordelia nodded vigorously. "Delicious." Melia elbowed her. "Don't say delicious." But it was delicious. Meredith sighed. "Girls." The twins exchanged a look. One of those silent, psionic flashes that only they understood, and then Melia blurted out, "We want him." Cordelia nodded. "Both of us." Meredith pinched the bridge of her nose. "Of course you do." But beneath her exasperation, there was a flicker of something else. Relief. Hope. A mother's quiet prayer answered. She rose from her throne, her spectral hair drifting like nebula mist. "Very well. If you are serious, then we must proceed carefully. Prince Amalric is not like the nobles you torment at my galas. He is fragile." Melia frowned. "Fragile?" He reversed time. "Emotionally fragile," Meredith corrected. "He has lived alone for centuries. His aura isolates him. He does not understand courtship." Cordelia's eyes softened. "Neither do we." Melia muttered, "We understand killing." "Not helpful," Meredith said. She paced slowly, her gown trailing magenta wisps. "Aurelian Swiftstar will deliver invitations. Lord Werner will attend." I will lightly suggest that the prince attend as well. And if the prince accompanies him, you will have your chance." Cordelia squealed, an undignified, high-pitched sound that made Melia stare at her in horror. "Did you just?" "No," Cordelia snapped. "Shut up." But then it happened. The drool. A thin, glistening line of venom slid from the corner of Cordelia's mouth. Melia felt her own glands activate in sympathy, a warm pressure building beneath her tongue. Meredith's eyes widened. "Girls, control yourselves. We're trying," Melia hissed, wiping her chin. Cordelia groaned. "Mother, what if this happens in front of him? He'll think we're beasts." Meredith lightly giggled and conjured a handkerchief from spectral mist and dabbed their faces with regal resignation. They both knew their mother was about to give them a lashing. "You are beasts. My little beasts. Or at least you were. Now I need you to mold the Shadowverse, tame the central breach, and impress this sad prince enough to scare a little conversation, perhaps a dance out of him. Just one dance, my little beasts. For a night, one night, you must pretend not to be beasts, and you both better not ever drool on my floor. Is that understood?" she finished seriously. The twins slumped and nodded their heads. Aurelian Swiftstar arrived in a burst of comet light, stepping into the chamber with a grin. "Did someone call for a messenger of destiny?" Cordelia pointed at him. "Tell us everything you know about the prince." Aurelian blinked. "Hello to you too." Melia grabbed his sleeve. "You've seen him without the armor." Aurelian's smile widened. So that's what this is about." Meredith cleared her throat. "Aurelian, please." He clasped his hands behind his back. "Very well. Prince Amaric is unique. His body is shaped by emotional spectrum energy. Without the armor, he is. How shall I put this? Ugly?" Cordelia asked, hopeful. "Hideous?" Melia added. Aurelian laughed. "He looks like a marble sculpture carved by a god who is showing off." The twins froze. Cordelia whispered, "A sculpture." Melia whispered, "A god." Aurelian nodded. "Spotless. White as starlight. Eyes like burning frost. Hair like liquid moonlight. And a physique that could make a vampire maiden reconsider her vows." Cordelia swayed. "I'm going to faint." Melia studied her. "No. I'm going to faint." Both drooled. Aurelian stepped back. "Oh dear." Meredith snapped her fingers, conjuring more handkerchiefs. "Control yourselves." "We can't," the twins wailed. Aurelian chuckled. "Well, I can't speak for the prince, but I can tell you that I don't like that." For the next 2 days, the palace was chaos. The twins tore through wardrobes, armor racks, weapon vaults, and cosmetic spellbooks. They interrogated tailors, threatened stylists, and nearly killed a hairdresser who suggested matching outfits. Cordelia practiced smiling in the mirror. It was terrifying. Melia practiced not scowling. It was worse. They attempted to research Amalric's interests, but every database returned the same result. No data found. Cordelia slammed the console. "How does a prince have no hobbies?" Melia muttered, "He has hobbies. He just doesn't tell anyone." "Why not?" "Because he's perfect." Cordelia nodded solemnly. True. On the night of the ball, the palace glowed with spectral lanterns. Nobles, wealthy merchants and traders, and high-ranking military officials gathered in shimmering gowns and dark armor, whispering about the mysterious prince who might attend. In their private chamber, the twins stood before the mirror. Melia wore obsidian armor trimmed in silver, her hair braided with starlight threads. Cordelia wore a sleek violet gown reinforced with energy weave, her hair cascading in a luminous tail. They looked powerful, beautiful, terrifying. Cordelia swallowed. "Sister, what if he doesn't come?" Melia took her hand. "Then we will make him." Cordelia smiled. "Good." They stepped into the hall, their auras masked, their hearts racing. Tonight, destiny would dance. And they intended to lead. Chapter 3, Nightbloom Balls Dropped. The Nightbloom Royal Ballroom was a cathedral of shadow glass and spectral flame, its vaulted ceiling swirling with magenta nebula light drawn directly from the ghost witch's own power. Hundreds of nobles filled the chamber, vampires in lacquered bone armor, banshee dignitaries wrapped in echo silk, werewolf chieftains in ceremonial hides, dark sorcerers with runes burning beneath their skin. They had all come for the same reason. Queen Meredith had declared a ball. But beneath the glamour, beneath the music, beneath the shimmering lanterns, there was a tension so sharp it could cut. Every noble felt it. Every guard sensed it. Every servant trembled beneath it. Because Prince Amalric Khaos was present. He stood near the entrance like a statue carved from night, motionless, silent, encased in his soul-bound armor. The blackened plates drank in the light, the sigils etched across them pulsing faintly with particle force resonance. He did not sit. He did not speak. He did not acknowledge anyone. He simply existed. And that was enough to terrify everyone. The nobles kept their distance, whispering behind fans and goblets. Is he breathing? Does he ever remove the armor? I heard he killed a void leviathan. I heard he can't feel anything. The twins watched him from across the ballroom, standing at the top of the grand staircase like two dark stars in orbit. Melia's fingers twitched against the hilt of her ceremonial sword. Cordelia's eyes tracked every subtle shift of the prince's posture. He hasn't moved, Cordelia whispered. He hasn't blinked, Melia muttered. He hasn't looked at us. He hasn't looked at anyone. Their frustration simmered. They had spent days preparing. Choosing armor, perfecting their hair, practicing smiles that didn't look like predatory snarls. And now the prince stood like a monolith, unmoved by theirs or any presence. Cordelia huffed. Maybe he's dead. Melia shook her head. No. I can feel him. From here he feels wonderful. And she could. Beneath the armor, beneath the particle force shielding, beneath the layers of suppression, Amalric's fear aura leaked like cold starlight. It brushed against the twins' senses. Subtle, intoxicating, irresistible. Cordelia shivered. He's doing it on purpose. No, Melia said softly. He doesn't know how not to. Before Cordelia could respond, the music shifted. The crowd parted. Queen Meredith stepped forward, radiant in her spectral gown, and extended a hand toward Lord Werner Khaos. The particle sovereign took it. The two ancient rulers moved to the center of the ballroom, and the orchestra fell silent. Then, with a single gesture from Meredith as she smiled almost girlishly toward Lord Khaos, the music began slow, haunting, woven with banshee harmonics and dark elven rhythm. Werner and Meredith danced. It was not a dance of lovers. It was a dance of history. Two beings who had once nearly shared a life. Two beings who had fought side by side against gods. Two beings who still, in some quiet corner of their immortal hearts, loved each other. And Amalric reacted. It was small. So small no one but the twins noticed. His head tilted. His fingers twitched. His aura pulsed once, like a heartbeat. Cordelia gasped. He moved. Melia's eyes widened. He's watching them. He loved to see his father happy, I feel it. The twins leaned forward, breathless. Then the lights exploded. A shriek tore through the ballroom, high, piercing, banshee-born. Servants dropped their trays. Nobles stumbled back. The chandeliers shattered as fighter drones burst through the windows, firing beams of crackling energy into the crowd. Chaos erupted. Werewolf guards lunged. Vampire nobles drew blades. Dark sorcerers unleashed shields of shadow. And in the center of it all, Whisper Scout Lorixa Moongrief stood atop a shattered table, her translucent skin glowing with banshee fury. For the fallen fleets, she screamed. For the true rulers of the Banshee Accord, her planted agents. Servants, guards, even a few nobles revealed hidden weapons and opened fire. The ballroom became a war zone. But Lord Werner Khaos did not panic. He raised one hand. Just one. And the air folded. Particle force rippled outward in a perfect sphere. Every drone froze mid-flight. Every rebel's weapon shattered in their hands. Every traitor collapsed as their nervous systems overloaded with harmless but overwhelming static. Lorixa tried to scream again. Werner flicked his fingers. She flew backward, pinned against a pillar by invisible force. Her body convulsed as particles rearranged themselves around her, locking her in place. Lord Khaos slowly paced over to her, his arm raised. His cold expression burned into the eyes of the fanatic, but he did not speak. He turned and glanced behind him. Queen Meredith stepped forward, eyes blazing. She was no longer enamored by the ball, now once again the tall, dark elvish monarch. "Who sent you?" Lorecast spat blood. "You will fall. The breach will burn." "The Admiral." Werner closed his white fist. Lorecasta's scream cut off as her memories were ripped from her mind in a stream of glowing particles. They swirled around Werner's hand, forming images, pirate enclaves, secret meetings, a banshee warship hidden in the breach. And at the center of it all, Admiral Sarenth Veilhowl. Werner released Lorecasta. She crumpled to the floor, unconscious. He turned to Meredith. "Your Admiral has betrayed you." Meredith's voice was ice. "She will be erased." Werner nodded once and spoke a single word, not loud, but with an expectant tone that resonated through the ballroom. "Amalric." The prince moved for the first time since entering the ballroom. He seemed to simply appear by his father's side, who moved around him as he spoke, pulling and typing into a data pad he produced from his dress robes. "You will coordinate with the Nightbloom Empire," Werner said. "Find the Admiral. End her rebellion." Amalric bowed his head. "As you command." The twins watched him, silent, breathless, trembling with a mixture of awe and desire. He had not fought. He had not reacted to the chaos. He had not needed to, because he was something else entirely. Cordelia whispered, "Sister." He didn't even flinch. Melia whispered back. He wasn't allowed to. And as the ballroom smoldered, as nobles trembled, as rebels were dragged away, the twins realized something with absolute clarity. They had never wanted anyone more. Chapter 4. Missions. The umbral thorn rose from Glypha's upper docks like a dark blade, its engines humming with restrained power as it carried its most dangerous passenger into Nightbloom space. The crew moved with rigid discipline, but every step, every breath, every whispered command was colored by the same unspoken truth. Prince Amalric Khaos was aboard. He entered the ship without ceremony, the air tightening around him as if the vessel itself bowed in recognition. His armor, black, seamless, etched with particle force sigils, drank in the light. He did not speak as he passed the crew, but his presence alone made their instincts scream. Captain Valor Dravane bowed deeply. "Your Highness, welcome aboard." Amalric inclined his head once and continued down the corridor. The crew parted like water around a stone, each of them feeling the faint bleed of his fear aura brushing their nerves. Even suppressed, it was enough to make hardened soldiers swallow hard and avert their eyes. Serica Thornvale whispered to Grumwald, "He's worse than the princesses." Grumwald muttered, "Aye. And they're bad enough." The twins were waiting for him in their shared office, sitting at opposite ends of a long obsidian desk. Melia sharpened a blade with slow, deliberate strokes, pretending not to care. Cordelia polished her pistols, adjusting microcalibrations with trembling fingers. They had spent hours preparing for this moment, rehearsing greetings, practicing smiles that didn't look like predatory snarls. When Amalric stepped inside, both froze. He stood at the head of the table, hands clasped behind his back. "I have reviewed the preliminary reports on Admiral Veilhowl." Cordelia cleared her throat. "And?" "She has been coordinating with pirate enclaves for at least 6 months, Amalric said. Her fleet movements suggest she is preparing a large-scale destabilization of the central breach. Melia leaned forward. "We suspected as much." Amalric continued. Her last known location intersects with 3 zero-affected sectors. This suggests she may have knowledge of the attacks, or is using them to mask her movements. Cordelia blinked. "You think she's working with the Zero?" "No," Amalric said. "The Zero does not work with anyone. But she may be following its wake, means she has data we may not. Her contacts along the breach, along Banshee Accord space, may be valuable." The room fell silent. Then Serica, unable to contain her curiosity, asked, "Your Highness, forgive the question, but what exactly is your role in the domain?" "We've heard rumors." Amaric turned his head slightly. Rumors. Grumwald coughed. Aye. That you're the adjudicator. The executioner. That you handle things. Amaric considered this. I am the adjudicator of the Khaos Domain. My authority is second only to my father's. Cordelia's eyes widened. Meaning, Amaric said calmly, I am deployed when diplomacy fails. When lethal force is authorized. When cosmic entities breach our borders. Melia's sharpening slowed. Cosmic entities? Yes. Serica leaned forward. The Khaos Domain deploys you when void creatures attack? Amaric answered without hesitation. Star leeches. Void-touched titans. Rogue particle gods. Entities that consume systems. Beings older than the silent. The crew stared. Cordelia whispered, you fight those. I neutralized them, Amaric corrected. My power allows me to challenge cosmic beings, destroy worlds if necessary, and reshape certain stars. Grumwald dropped his wrench. Serica's mouth fell open. Reshape stars? Amaric nodded. Particle force manipulation allows for stellar restructuring. My father is more proficient, but I am capable. Captain Valor exhaled slowly. This is why no one crosses into the domain. Why they don't explore. You're shaping worlds and star systems for you people to live. Yes, Amaric said simply. Rebellions do not last. Pirates do not survive. And threats do not linger. Cordelia whispered to Melia, he's perfect. Melia whispered back, he's horrifying. As Amaric continued reviewing tactical projections, the twins tried desperately to appear composed. Melia's blade slipped twice. Cordelia dropped her pistol. Both were sweating. Even with his armor sealed, Amalric's fear aura leaked like cold starlight, subtle, intoxicating, impossible to ignore. It brushed their nerves, their bones, their psionic senses, making their hearts race and their thoughts blur. Cordelia leaned close to her sister. He's doing it again. Melia whispered, he doesn't know he's doing it. Cordelia's voice trembled. We need to get that armor off. Melia nodded. We will. Amaric finished his review and turned toward the door. I will meditate before we depart. Please notify me when we reach the breach. Cordelia blurted, wait. He paused. The twins froze, suddenly aware that the crew was watching. Melia cleared her throat. We appreciate your assistance. Cordelia nodded rapidly. Yes, very much. Amaric inclined his head. You are welcome. He stepped out of the room. The moment the door closed, the twins collapsed against the desk, gasping. Serica stared at them. Are you two, all right? No, Cordelia said. Yes, Melia said. We're dying, Cordelia added. We're in love, Melia corrected. Grumwald muttered, Gods help us all. The twins looked at each other, eyes wide, breath trembling, hearts pounding. Cordelia whispered, we have to get his armor off. Melia nodded. We have to see him. We have to feel him. Melia's voice dropped to a reverent whisper. We have to know him. The crew exchanged horrified glances. Captain Valor rubbed his temples. This mission is doomed. Serica sighed. We're all going to die. Grumwald muttered, I should have stayed in engineering. But the twins were already lost in their own world, two predators who had finally found prey worthy of obsession. And as the umbral thorn drifted toward the central breach, every soul aboard understood one thing with perfect clarity. Prince Amaric Khaos was not merely dangerous. He was destiny. Chapter 5, Pirate Conclave. The umbral thorn drifted through the fractured dark of the central breach, its hull still humming with the aftershocks of Amalric's presence. The twins had barely survived the last hour of proximity to him, his fear aura leaking through the armor like cold starlight, brushing their nerves, tightening their breath, making their thoughts blur into a single obsessive pulse. They needed his attention. They needed his eyes. They needed him. And so they tried. They cornered him in the observation chamber, where the swirling nebulous storms of the breach cast pale light across his armor. Amaric stood motionless, hands clasped behind his back, studying the tactical projections floating before him. Cordelia cleared her throat. Prince Amaric, May we ask you something? He turned his head slightly. Yes. Millennia stepped forward, trying to look casual and failing. Do you find us attractive? There was no hesitation. You are both purple, curvy, and have cute tapered ears. The twins blinked. Cordelia whispered, cute. Millennia whispered back, he called us cute. But Amaric continued, voice calm and clinical. I am not attracted to you. Not yet. The twins froze. Cordelia's voice cracked. Not yet. Correct, Amaric said. Attraction requires sensory exposure. I would need to remove my armor. See you. Hear you. Touch you. Only then could I determine if you are attractive. The twins stared at him, stunned, breathless, their minds spiraling. Cordelia whispered, who goes first? Millennia whispered, me. No, me. You drool too much. You drool more. Their argument was cut short by the ship's violent lurch. The alarm screamed. The hull shook. The lights flickered. Captain Baylor's voice boomed over the comms. Daggertooth sisters incoming. Multiple raider craft. Cordelia cursed. Not again. Millennia snarled. I'll kill them. But Amaric raised a hand. Remain still. The ship shuddered as another barrage struck. The Daggertooth sisters' laughter echoed through the comms, high, shrill, hungry. Amaric stepped forward, placing his palm against the bulkhead. Reality bent. The umbral thorn flickered once, twice, then vanished from normal space entirely. The twins felt their stomachs twist as the ship phased through overlapping dimensions, slipping between layers of reality like a blade through silk. The Daggertooth raiders fired wildly into empty space. Cordelia gasped. What did you? We are invisible to them, Amaric said. Their scanners cannot detect dimensional displacement. Millennia stared. You phased the entire ship. Yes. The ship reappeared moments later, silent and unseen, trailing the raiders from behind. The pirates sped toward a jagged asteroid riddled with shanty structures and flickering lights. Cordelia narrowed her eyes. They're meeting someone. Millennia hissed, the Admiral. They followed the raiders to the heart of the asteroid, where a makeshift conclave of pirates and Banshee officers gathered around Admiral Sarenth Valehall. The air crackled with tension. Amaric stepped out of the ship alone. The pirates froze. The Admiral stiffened. Prince Amaric Khaos. He inclined his head. Yes, weapons were drawn. Threats were shouted. But Amaric simply lifted a finger. No fear. The air thickened. Fear rippled outward. The pirates trembled. I am not here to harm you, Amaric said. Unless you force me. The Admiral swallowed. What do you want? Information. He questioned them calmly, precisely, without raising his voice. He asked about the Zero, about the destroyed colony, about the invisible drones. The pirates answered, terrified, obedient, desperate to survive. When he finished, he turned to leave. And that was when the twins arrived. They descended like shadows, blades and pistols drawn, eyes glowing with psionic hunger. The pirates screamed. The Admiral leapt into her armor. The eldest Daggertooth sister lunged. The twins tore through them like tissue paper. Cordelia's pistols sang with violet fire. Millennia's blade carved arcs of shimmering death. Fear poured from them in waves, crushing minds, breaking wills. The conclave was reduced to blood, smoke, and silence as combatants could not even pull their triggers. Amaric returned just as the last pirate fell. He did not flinch. He did not judge. He simply said, Borat. Report. The droid's voice crackled through the comms. Data extracted from the Daggertooth sisters indicates 812 additional Zero attack sites previously concealed by Banshee forces. The twins froze. Cordelia whispered, 800. Millennia whispered, Mother will kill them. Amaric nodded. I must return to Kilios. There is much to analyze. He began to float away, and the twins panicked. Wait, Cordelia cried. Don't go. Millennia pleaded. He paused. They stepped toward him, shaking, breathless, terrified of what they were about to do. Cordelia's voice trembled. We think of you constantly. Millennia's eyes glistened. Your aura, your presence, its warmth, comfort. We've never felt anything like it. Cordelia swallowed hard. We love our mother, our people, our crew. But you, Melia finished for her. You are everything we've ever wanted. Amaric stared at them, silent. Then he spoke softly. I exude fear energy. I believed my armor compensated for the bleed. It does not, Cordelia whispered. And we do not want it to, Melia added. Their glands activated. The drool came. Thick, glistening venom slid from the corners of their mouths, uncontrolled, humiliating, primal. They froze in horror. Cordelia's voice cracked. No. Melia's eyes widened. Not now. They wiped their faces frantically, trembling, mortified. He had seen. He had seen. Their greatest shame. Their darkest fear. The thing they believed made them monstrous. Cordelia choked on a sob. We're sorry. Melia grabbed her sister's hand. We have to go. They fled, running back to the umbral thorn, tears streaking down their cheeks, venom burning their lips, hearts shattering. Amaric watched them go. He did not follow. He simply activated his calm. For it. Prepare the palace, and I want a fully mapped record of every disappearance. I am returning. And without another word, he rose into the sky, cold, distant, unreadable, leaving the twins behind in the ruins of their courage. Chapter 6, Nightbloom Song. Queen Meredith's bedchamber, normally a sanctum of spectral calm, had become a storm of sobbing, tangled limbs, and emotional devastation. The Terror Twins, the most feared young women in the Nightbloom Empire, lay collapsed at their mother's feet like children, their foreheads pressed into the velvet of her gown, their shoulders shaking with silent, broken cries. Melia clutched the hem of Meredith's robes with white-knuckled desperation. Cordelia buried her face against her sister's shoulder, trembling. Their venom glands were still aching from the humiliation on the pirate asteroid, their pride shattered, their hearts bruised in a way neither battle nor rebellion had ever managed. Meredith stroked their hair with slow, spectral fingers, her magenta aura dimmed to a soft glow. She had seen her daughters drenched in blood, laughing in the face of death, tearing through armies without blinking. But she had never seen them like this. My girls, she whispered, voice thick with a mother's ache. My fierce, terrible, beautiful girls, what has he done to you? Cordelia choked on a sob. He didn't do anything. He was absolutely perfect in every way. He saw us, Mother. Melia's voice cracked. He saw us drool. The word itself seemed to wound them anew. They curled inward, ashamed, trembling. Meredith's heart twisted. She remembered this feeling. This raw, helpless ache of wanting someone so badly it hollowed you out. She remembered being young, powerful, feared, and still terrified of rejection. She remembered Werner cows and the love they had never been allowed to keep. She cupped their faces, lifting them gently. Listen to me. You are not ugly. You are not shameful. Your venom is part of who you are, your nature, your power. If he cannot accept that. He didn't reject us, Cordelia whispered. We ran, Melia added, voice small. Meredith paused. You ran. Both nodded miserably. Meredith exhaled, long and slow. Then you do not know what he thinks. Before she could say more, the chamber doors slammed open. Their grandmother swept in like a thunderstorm. The matriarch of the Nightbloom line was ancient, sharp-eyed, and terrifying even by dark elven standards. Her hair was a wild mane of silver thorns, her armor older than empires, her presence a blade of pure authority. She took one look at her granddaughters, crying on the floor, and snarled. What is this? Cordelia flinched. Melia wiped her face quickly, trying to look fierce and failing. Grandmother stomped forward, pointing a clawed finger at them. You are NGHBLOM. You do not cry over a man. Mother, Meredith began. No, the old woman barked. When I wanted a man, I took him. I didn't prance around like a wilted banshee. I didn't run away because he saw a little venom. Cordelia whimpered. Melia groaned. Grandmother continued, voice rising. You should have pinned him to the floor, sunk your fangs into his neck, and drained him of fear until he begged to be yours. Mother. Meredith snapped, scandalized. What? Grandmother huffed. That's how it was done in MY Day. The twins stared at her in horror. Meredith rubbed her temples. Society is more civilized than that now, Mother. Grandmother scoffed. Soft. All of you. Weak and soft. She jabbed a finger at the twins. If you want him, take him. If not, stop crying and get off the floor. She spun on her heel and stormed out, muttering about modern girls and romantic nonsense. The chamber fell silent. Then all three Nightbloom women sighed in perfect unison. Their elders' primal insensitivity, nothing new. Cordelia sniffed. She's impossible. Melia wiped her eyes. She's insane. Meredith nodded. She's right. They're hidden now, but there are images of terrible-looking Nightbloom weddings where our noblewomen pulled their grooms into the bedchamber with glee. Despite everything, the tension eased and they laughed. The twins sat up straighter, breathing steadier, their humiliation softened by shared exasperation. Meredith brushed their cheeks gently. Now, let us speak to someone who understands gentleness. She summoned a black crystal speaker with a flick of her wrist. The device pulsed once, then projected the shimmering image of Lord Werner Khaos. He appeared in his study, surrounded by floating particle maps and ancient tomes. His expression softened when he saw Meredith, but sharpened when he saw the twins' tear-streaked faces. Are they hurt? He demanded. No, Meredith said. Just heartbroken. Werner blinked. Cordelia swallowed. Lord Khaos, we wish to pursue your son. Melia nodded. With your blessing. Werner leaned back, thoughtful. Amalric is not a social person. We know, Cordelia whispered. He is distant, Werner continued. Quiet. He does not understand affection. We know, Melia said softly. Werner hesitated, then his voice gentled. But he loves music. The twins froze. Meredith's eyes widened. Music? Werner nodded. When he was young, he played constantly. He still does, though never for others. If he reacted to our dance at the ball, then he still feels something. Cordelia whispered. He did react. Melia nodded. He watched you both. Werner's voice softened further. If he chooses to play for you, you may win his heart. The twins looked at each other, eyes bright, hope rekindled. Meredith smiled. Then we know what to do. They spent the next hours recording a song, an ancient Nightbloom melody of longing and connection, their voices weaving together in perfect binary harmony. It was haunting, beautiful, raw with emotion. When they finished, they sent it through the courier channels. Aurelian Swiftstar arrived before sunset, stepping into the chamber with a grin and a scroll of shimmering starlight. For the princesses Melia and Cordelia Nightbloom, he announced dramatically a formal invitation from the Khaos Domain. Cordelia gasped. Melia's hands trembled. Aurelian unrolled the scroll. Prince Amalric Khaos formally invites you to Kilios to discuss a courtship ritual. The twins screamed. Meredith laughed softly, pride and relief shining in her spectral eyes. Chapter 7. The Princess Terror. Kilios greeted them with its usual silence, an endless stretch of obsidian plains, pale auroras drifting across the sky like the breath of sleeping gods. The umbral thorn descended through the thin atmosphere, its engines humming softly as the landing struts touched down on the black stone platform outside Amalric's palace. The twins stood at the ramp, trying to look composed. They failed immediately. Borat floated toward them, his blue lights blinking in a cheerful pattern. Welcome, Princess Melia. Princess Cordelia. Your presence is statistically pleasing. Cordelia blinked. Statistically? Yes, Borat said. Prince Amalric has been anticipating your arrival. His heart rate increased by 0.04%. Melia's eyes widened. He anticipated us? Borat rotated. He is currently preparing the tour. Cordelia whispered, we get a tour. Melia whispered back, we're going to die. They followed Borat across the landing platform and into the obsidian palace. The halls were carved from black stone that shimmered with embedded particle crystals, each one humming faintly with energy. The air was cool, still, and charged with the faintest trace of fear, a Malric's aura, leaking through the walls like cold starlight. He was waiting for them in the central atrium. The prince stood tall and motionless, his armor gleaming like a void-forged monolith. "Welcome to Kilios," he said. The twins bowed too quickly, too deeply, nearly bumping into each other. Cordelia straightened first, trying to smile. Melia straightened second, trying not to scowl. "We are honored," Cordelia said. "We are overwhelmed," Melia added. Amaric nodded. "I will show you the compound." He led them through the palace, past meditation chambers carved into the stone, past crystalline gardens that glowed with particle light, past training halls where gravity shifted in gentle waves. The twins followed closely, whispering to each other in frantic, psionic bursts. "He walks like a god. He stands like a statue. He smells like fear and moonlight. Stop saying things that make me drool." Borat hovered behind them, recording everything for later analysis. Finally, Amaric stopped before a set of tall, obsidian doors. "This is the music chamber." The doors opened. The room inside was vast, lined with instruments from 100 worlds, from stringed relics to floating resonance harps to particle drums that pulsed with light. Screens and consoles line the walls, each one displaying waveforms, harmonic maps, and psionic resonance charts. And in the center of the room, softly playing through the speakers, was their song. Their voices, woven together in longing, trembling harmony, filled the chamber like a living thing. Cordelia gasped. "You analyzed it." Amaric nodded. "I stripped the layers, examined the harmonics. Your fear resonance is unusually compatible with mine." Melia's heart nearly stopped. "Compatible?" "Yes." Cordelia swayed. "I'm going to faint." Melia grabbed her arm. "No, not yet." Amaric stepped toward the center of the room. "My father said it would be safe to remove my armor in your presence. My calculations agree." The twins froze. Cordelia whispered, "He's going to." Melia whispered, "Oh no." Cordelia whispered, "Oh yes." Amaric reached for the clasps at his wrists. The armor hissed softly as the seals disengaged. The plates shifted, unfolding like petals of black metal. The chest piece lowered. The back plates opened. The entire suit split down the center. And Amaric stepped out. The twins saw him. And their minds broke. He was alabaster perfection, white-haired, wide-eyed, sculpted like a god carved from moonstone. His skin glowed faintly with emotional spectrum energy. His muscles were sleek, defined, impossibly symmetrical. His presence, unshielded, unmasked, hit them like a tidal wave. His fear aura exploded outward. Melia made a strangled sound. Cordelia whispered, "Oh." Then both of them collapsed. They hit the floor with twin thuds, eyes rolling back, venom dripping from their lips as they fainted with idiot smiles on their faces. They awoke in the medical bay, lying side by side on sleek obsidian beds. Their heads throbbed. Their hearts raced. Their bodies still trembled with the aftershocks of a Malric's aura. Melia groaned. "I died." Cordelia groaned. "I died prettier." "You drooled more." "You drooled first." A soft voice spoke from behind them. "You are both awake." They froze. Amaric sat in a chair between their beds, hands resting calmly on his knees. His armor was gone. His white hair fell loosely around his shoulders. His eyes, white on white, glowed softly as he watched them. "I stabilized your biorhythms," he said. "Your bodies were overwhelmed by my aura. I remained here to ensure your safety." Cordelia's face turned purple. "You stayed?" "Yes." Melia swallowed hard. "You heard us?" "Yes." Cordelia squeaked. "All of it?" "Yes." The twins stared at him in horror. He tilted his head slightly. "I am not angry." They blinked. "You are not ashamed," he continued. "You are not monstrous. Your venom is part of your biology. I do not judge it." Cordelia whispered, "You don't." "No." Melia whispered, "Even when we drool?" Amaric nodded. "I find it informative." The twins stared at him, then at each other. then back at him. Cordelia whispered, "Sister, he's perfect." Melia whispered, "Sister, we're doomed." Amalric rose from his chair, his aura softening. "When you are ready, we may continue the courtship ritual." The twins fainted again. This time, Amalric caught them before they hit the floor. Chapter 8, Zero's Shadow. The colony hung in silence. Not the silence of peace or sleep, or the natural stillness of a world at rest, but the hollow, airless quiet of something that had been emptied. Amalric stepped through the drifting ash, his boots leaving faint depressions in the scorched soil. The sky above was a pale, washed-out gray, as if even the light had been drained. This was the third colony in as many weeks, and the zero had struck again. Buildings stood like skeletal ribs, their frames intact but hollowed out. No scorch marks, no blast signatures, no biological residue, no bodies, just absence. Amalric knelt beside a collapsed structure, placing his palm against the cold metal. His eyes dimmed, and particle force rippled outward in a silent wave. The world around him rewound in flickers, shadows of people walking, talking, living until the moment the zero arrived. Invisible drones. Silent. Precise. Dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. They passed through walls like ghosts, passed through bodies like mist, and everything they touched simply ceased. Amalric exhaled slowly. "It is accelerating." Borat hovered beside him, scanning the ruins with a soft hum. Energy signatures matched previous zero events. However, this colony was taken in under 3 minutes. Efficiency has increased by 17%. Amalric rose. "Show me the vector." Borat projected a holographic map. 3-dimensional, rotating, marked with dozens of red points. The zero's path traced a jagged line across the outer colonies, converging toward a single region. The central breach. Borat's lights flickered. Extrapolation suggests a source point within the breach's gravitational core. However, no life has existed there in eons. The region is unstable, uninhabitable, and theoretically inaccessible. Amalric stared at the map, his expression unreadable. "The zero is not life." "Correct," Borat said. "It is a construct. A remnant of the old silent. A weapon without a master." Amalric's jaw tightened. "Then I will pursue it." Borat rotated anxiously. "Master, the breach's core is dangerous. Spatial distortions exceed safe thresholds. Temporal anomalies." "I have chased the zero for years," Amalric said quietly. "I will not stop now." Borat paused. "Your father will not approve." Amalric turned toward the horizon, where the colony's ruins stretched like a graveyard of forgotten lives. "My father does not need to approve." The wind shifted, carrying the faint echo of something that was not sound, an emotional resonance, a memory of fear left behind by the colony's final moments. Amalric felt it brush against his senses, cold and sharp. He closed his eyes. He had felt this before. On other worlds. In other ruins. Always the same. Always the zero. Borat hovered closer. "I have isolated the trajectory. The source point lies deep within the breach's gravitational heart. No vessel can survive the descent." Amalric's eyes opened, glowing faintly. "I can." Borat hesitated. "Your armor is not designed for." "I will not wear the armor." Borat's lights flickered in alarm. "Master." Amalric stepped forward, the air bending around him. "Prepare the coordinates. We depart immediately." Borat processed this for a long moment, then lowered slightly in resignation. "Understood. I will calculate the safest possible entry vector." "There is no safe vector," Amalric said. "Correct," Borat replied. "But I can calculate the least fatal one." Amalric almost smiled. "Do that." They left the ruined colony behind, rising into the fractured sky. The umbral thorn awaited in orbit, its hull gleaming faintly against the swirling nebula storms. Amalric boarded silently, his expression set, his aura cold and focused. The twins were not here. Their warmth was not here. Their voices were not here. Only the zero. Only the hunt. Borat floated beside him as the ship angled toward the central breach. The nebula storms thickened, colors twisting into violent spirals. Gravity fluctuated. Space folded. The breach pulsed like a wounded heart. Boret's voice softened. "Master, are you certain?" Amalric stared into the swirling abyss. Yes. The ship plunged forward, and the Zero waited. Chapter 9. Heart of the Breach. The descent into the central breach felt like falling into the throat of a dead god. Space twisted into spirals of colorless light, gravity folded in on itself, and the void around the prince's sphere aura groaned as if the void were trying to peel it apart. Amalric floated, unarmored, white hair drifting weightlessly around him. His eyes glowed with cold focus, reading the distortions as easily as a scholar reads a book. Boret hovered beside him, lights flickering in anxious patterns. "Master, spatial integrity is degrading. Probability of catastrophic collapses." "Acceptable," Amalric said. Boret made a distressed beep. "Your definition of acceptable remains statistically concerning." The prince plunged deeper. The breach's heart revealed itself slowly, first as a storm of fractured asteroids, then as a swirling vortex of broken time, and finally as a single floating mass. A colossal asteroid carved into the ruins of a city older than any empire. A silent city. Its towers were jagged bones of forgotten architecture, its streets cracked and suspended in impossible angles. Particle force conduits flickered like dying nerves. The entire structure pulsed with a faint, rhythmic hum, like a heartbeat that had not yet realized it was dead. Amalric stepped onto the surface. The gravity shifted beneath his feet, bending to accommodate him. Boret hovered close, scanning frantically. This city predates the fall of the old Silent. It should not exist. It should not be intact. It should not be here, Amalric finished. Yes. They walked through the ruins, past shattered monoliths and dormant machines. The air tasted of static and memory. The hum grew louder as they approached the center of the city, a vast chamber carved into the asteroid's core. Inside, suspended above a chasm of swirling energy, was the Zero's heart. A sphere of black light, a core of annihilation, a weapon without a master. Boret's lights dimmed. This is the source. The Zero's command node. It is drawing power from the breach itself. Amalric stepped forward. "We remove it." Boret spun sharply. "Master, the core is self-defending. Removing it will trigger." The chamber shook. Ancient drones, silent constructs shaped like angular, floating blades, awoke from their dormant alcoves. Their eyes ignited with cold blue fire. Hundreds of them. Boret shrieked. Defense grid activated. The drones swarmed. Amalric raised his hand. Particle force rippled outward, bending the drones' trajectories, slowing them, crushing some mid-flight. But more emerged, thousands now, pouring from the walls like a metallic tide. Boret zipped around him, firing tiny beams that barely dented the constructs. "Master, we must retreat." "No," Amalric said. "The Zero must be stopped." He stepped toward the core. The drones converged. Boret screamed, "Master, stop." Amalric didn't. He reached for the core, his hand inches from the sphere of black light, when Boret slammed into him with all the force his tiny frame could muster. The impact knocked Amalric backward. A tractor beam fired from above, an ancient silent vessel, dormant until now, suddenly roaring to life. Boret had activated it. The beam locked onto Amalric, dragging him upward toward the ship. "Borit," Amalric shouted, struggling against the pull. "Release me." "No," Borit cried. "You will die. I will not allow it." The drones swarmed the core. The chamber began to collapse. The asteroid cracked. Borit hovered before Amalric, lights flickering wildly. "I have transferred myself into the silent vessel. I will pilot it. You will survive." "Borit." "Master," the droid said softly, "I am proud to have made you feel fear." The tractor beam hurled Amalric out of the collapsing chamber, through the asteroid's crumbling shell and into open space. Behind him, the silent city began its implosion, swallowed by a vortex of collapsing energy. The white marble-skinned prince stared in awe as he was pulled toward the vessel and, with it, out of danger. The ancient vessel shot upward, engine screaming as it pulled Amalric clear of the breach's gravitational heart. The asteroid detonated. A shockwave rippled through the void, and silence followed. The ancient vessel landed hard on the obsidian platform. Amalric stepped out, unsteady for the first time in centuries. His hair was disheveled. His aura flickered. His eyes dimmed with something the twins had never seen in him before. Fear, loss, grief. Melia and Cordelia were waiting. They ran to him, stopping only when they felt the tremor in his aura. Their expressions softened instantly. "Amalric," Cordelia whispered. Melia stepped closer. "What happened?" He looked at them, and for a moment, the cold prince seemed unbearably human. "Borit," he said quietly. "He sacrificed himself." The twins' eyes widened. Cordelia touched his arm gently. "We're so sorry." Melia nodded. "He was your friend." Amalric closed his eyes. "He saved me." The twins exchanged a look, one of fierce determination. Then Melia said, "Show us the wreckage." Cordelia added, "We're rebuilding him." Amalric opened his eyes. For the first time, there was warmth in them. "You would help me restore him?" Melia nodded. "Of course." Cordelia smiled softly. "He saved you. That makes him family." Amalric exhaled, a slow, trembling breath. "Then let us begin." The three of them walked into the palace together, toward the workshop. And for the first time since entering the breach, Amalric felt something other than fear. He felt hope.